UK, okay, your background, how different is your country today with what's happened the last 3-4 years with immigration, maybe even 8 years? We can go 6 years, right? How different is your country today than 2004 before you chose to go become a member of parliament?
It's dramatically different. In the past few years, in the past 2 years, it's changed, and you can notice that change. I came to America 4 years ago. I visited the UK a few months ago. I noticed a change. 1 in every 27 people in the UK, 1 in every 27 has arrived in the country in the past 24 months. 40% of all foreign-born people living in Britain, 40% have arrived in the past 10 years.
Say that again, 40% have arrived the last 10 years.
Of all the foreign-born people living in the UK,
have came the last 10 years.
4 out of 10 of them have come in the past 10 years. It is a huge change. It's a noticeable change. And it's got all sorts of implications.
And what are you sensing this? So somebody may say, okay, well, that just means you have such a great country that you're attracting a lot of people that are coming from all over the country. Somebody may say, if you're attracting people like that, U.S. was #1 in the world in immigration. We got 40 plus million people, 50 million plus people that come here because of the American dream, because how amazing this is and how awesome it is. Shouldn't that be complimentary? What do you say to people that say, well, that's a compliment
I'm an
to you,
immigrant
right?
myself. I moved to America. But the question I would have for the people who've been running Britain for the past 3-4 decades is, look, you've got all these people wanting to come to your country. Why have you not filtered out to make sure you get good quality people with skills and cultural compatibility? You've imported large numbers of people from cultures that are not culturally compatible with Britain, and we're starting to see the consequences of this. You've imported people with low skills, low value capital people, and actually this has made Britain poorer. Britain today is a poorer country per person than it was 15, 20 years ago. And the reason for that is because per capita GDP, that's the output per person, has declined because we've imported people from such low quality, low capital societies that they have lowered the overall value of the country per person. We've done it wrong.
So when I had your friend Douglas Murray on last week, 2 weeks, which I think you probably watched the interview, when I was speaking to him, I said, why don't you filter out who's coming in to see the data of who produces, like, for example, if a company's hiring people, I think the example I gave him, if I'm hiring people, our HR department's going to be looking, what company are they coming from? How much background did they have in the past? What university are they coming from? Where did they go to? What's their major level of experience before you let them in? And his answer was, we don't have the data. We can't ask those questions. We don't have it. Do you have?
I think some countries do actually have the data. Now, Douglas made a very good point. There are some countries like the UK that are very reluctant to catalogue and collect data by national background. And they're clearly fearful about doing that because they don't want the public to see the consequences of uncontrolled mass immigration from culturally incompatible countries. But actually, there have been some studies done that do begin to tell us some important facts. There was a Dutch study done by the University of Amsterdam, and they looked at the fiscal contribution of migrants coming from different parts of the world to the Dutch taxpayer. And it very clearly showed that people from Muslim countries were a net burden on the Dutch economy. They drew more in benefits than they contributed in tax revenue. But people from non-Muslim countries, particularly Western countries, culturally compatible countries, were a net benefit. If you're looking this up, you can look it up. It's University of Amsterdam. The study was done by a man called Van der Beek, B-E-E-K. Now, the Van der Beek study produces some really powerful evidence, I think, that you need to be selective. You need to be selective not only, Canada famously used to have a so-called points-based system of immigration where people who had certain educational attainment would be given more points, people who had skills would be given more points, and you had to get a certain number of points to qualify to go to Canada. If only they had stuck with that system. So I do think you need to select through a points-based system, but you also need to select for cultural compatibility. You need to prioritize importing people who have values that give them the potential to become part of Western society.
So when they did that, is this the study you're talking about? This one right here? This one shows this chart.
Is it by Van der Beek?
It is by Van der Beek, but it says regards as a self-Muslim, Turkish, Moroccan, Somali. Is that the one or no? This is a different one.
I don't think it is. I mean, he may have produced several papers. I don't.
Got it. Okay. So, and aside from that, did they find any types of Muslim that came in that were a net positive to society? Was it across the board, no matter where they're coming in from?
I mean, clearly they found the Horn of Africa were the biggest net drain on the Dutch taxpayer. That is people from Somalia, essentially. But you know, the biggest positive contribution in terms of economic input were people, actually migrants from the USA and from Japan.
Net positive.
Net positive. Yeah.
From USA and Japan.
Yeah.
And is this article an article that shows by country which were the net negatives or no?
Yeah.
So Rob, I actually want to see this now. I'm actually really curious. So you said the guy's name is Van der Beek.
Van der Beek.
And then University of Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And do you remember what the name of the article was? Or
No. I mean, one way, if you're looking it up, look at a website called Unheard. That's UNHERD, Unheard. And then look up the University of Amsterdam, Dutch fiscal immigration, and it should come up. No, unheard.org. Sorry.
Unheard.org.
They've written an article about it, unheard.org.
Oh, it's not even a website. It doesn't come up.
Unheard?
UNHEARD?
HERD.
HERD.
Yeah.
Got it.
As in a herd of cattle.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Unheard. That's also not coming up. Okay. This one is coming up. But Rob, are you seeing it?
It's telling me the site is under development.
Go into Google. Type in UNHERD. Yeah, that's the website. And it's an article that appeared there, I think, towards the end of last year. So type in under the search feature, Dutch immigration, and it should come up.
Oh, it's unheard.com is what it was. Okay, got it. So if Dutch immigration, click on that, Rob, see if it comes up. You have no idea how bad I want to see this data. You have no idea how bad I want to see this data.
Well, try the Google search. Do it in Google.
Let's see. Immigration cost states $17 billion.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
That's the one.
Okay, so I found it, Rob. So it's the one that says it cost, Unheard.
That's the one.
Got it. So if you want to go lower and see if there's anything about by country. So zoom in a little bit, Rob, if I can read this one. Not much has been seen. A team of mathematicians, Van der Beek, at the University of Amsterdam, estimates that Dutch government spends approximately $17 billion a year on immigration between 1995 and 2019. And that is more, meaning that more than 1 billion euros went to migration-related issues every month. Mm-hmm. The study digs deeper. Annual net costs of non-Western immigration amounts to $17 billion, and annual net benefits of Western migration to $1 billion, distinguishing between Western and non-Western migration patterns.
Now, on Twitter, you should be able to find an awesome graphic for the same paper.
Meanwhile, the picture in Germany is much different. About 45% of those who receive unemployment benefits are non-German citizens. 45%, costing the taxpayer around $20 billion a year. Austria similar, with 60% of recipients are having a migrant background. So these are entitlement programs that are people who are citizens who were born there are paying for 60%. That is pretty wild statistics. And it continues to say, in some European countries, immigrants are well integrated into the labor market, 70% in Denmark, 60% in Poland, and the Czech Republic, and 50% in Netherlands, UK, and Ireland. But in others, such as Germany and Austria, the number remains below 20%. Mm-hmm. Rob, did you find a chart on Twitter to see what the top...
That's not it.
I want to see who it is. Because I want to see, what I'm trying to find out is the following. So just so you know, and the audience is listening to know what I'm trying to go with. I want to go find out who from what Muslim nation that comes in is in the net positive society and why.
Do another search on Twitter. Type in Danish immigration, crime, nationality. That will produce a superb graph that will answer that question very graphically. No. There, that one.
Zoom in.
Now, this is the number of men. Now, these are Danish-born. These are people who are born in Denmark.
Okay.
And this is the country that their parents originated from. This is the percentage of them who have a criminal record by the age of 30. 70% of people
Who came from Kuwait.
No. Who are born in Denmark. These are Danish born, but their parents came from Kuwait. 70% of people of Kuwaiti origin who are born in Denmark have a criminal record by the age of 30.
That is insane.
Indeed.
68% Ethiopia, 64% Jordan, 62% Somalia and Syria, 60% Uganda and Lebanon.
And you can't say that this is because of the difficulty of moving, because their parents made them move. These are people who have been born in Denmark.
So the first one that you could say is it fair to say that top 9 is all Muslim? Kuwait, Ethiopia, Jordan, Somalia, Syria, Uganda, Lebanon, Morocco, Algeria?
Ethiopia and Uganda are not, I mean, there are Muslims living in both countries, but they're not majority Muslim. No.
What would you say Ethiopia's majority, the religion?
Christian, largely.
Christian? Okay, so then one could argue you got Kuwait, Jordan, Somalia, Syria, Lebanon, Morocco, Algeria.
I think you can say the top 10, 7 of the top 10 are majority Muslim.
Maybe even 8 because you got Iraq there as well, right? So then you have Brazil, then you have North Macedonia, then you have Iran, Egypt, Afghanistan, Turkey. Keep going lower up to see if there's others here. Pakistan, and then Norway, UK, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Poland, Iceland. Denmark themselves, 18%. Germany, 20%. Thailand, 20%. Vietnam, 22%.
I think you would logically use Denmark as the benchmark, wouldn't you?
Right. So the average kid born in Denmark, pre-30, only 18% of them commit a crime.
There's a different graphic that shows criminality amongst the first generation. And that is even more, I don't know if you can find that. No, it's not that graph. Maybe try that one. Try that one. No, go back, that one.
Zoom
Look
in.
at that.
Go down.
This is even more telling. This includes first generation. These are violent criminal conviction rates in Denmark by nation of origin. And I think there you clearly show Kuwait, Tunisia, Lebanon, Somalia, Jordan, Uganda, Morocco, often countries that were represented in the first graphic, represented in this.
So at the top, you would see, violent crime conviction rate in Denmark by nation of origin, 2010 to 2021. Kuwait, what number would you put that in, Rob? What percentile is it if you go all the way to the bottom? Because I can't see the number.
And notice the red ones are Muslim majority countries.
90%. So red ones are Muslim majority. So let's see the colors on the bottom, what it is. Oh, it's not going to show the colors. No, it's not going to do that.
The conviction rate is relative to the Danish conviction rate.
Wow. So the red is Muslim.
Yeah.
Blue is what? Europe?
Europe, yeah. Okay,
or Western. Got it. Go all the way up, Rob. Let's look at the top one more time again. So at the top is Kuwait. 90% violent.
No. That is, scroll all the way down to the bottom. Now, that is not the percentage. That's not 90%. That is over and above the
average in Denmark.
Danish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the top is Kuwait.
Yeah. I mean, interestingly, you've got all those Muslim countries at the top overrepresented. Way down the bottom, you've got India, where actually criminality is very, very low. Now, surely that is very telling. The fact that in India, migrants to Denmark from India are committing relatively few offences.
In Denmark.
In Denmark, yeah.
So can you go to the bottom to see who does less than even citizens who are from Denmark? Go in. So black is Denmark. That's the standard. So Ireland, Romania, Bulgaria, Finland, France, UK, Portugal, Sweden, Norway, Estonia, Spain, Switzerland, Netherlands, Hungary, Greece, China. Even China, Italy, Germany, Indonesia, Canada, Belgium, Philippines, Ukraine, India,
those
Argentina,
are so law-abiding. Wow.
Look at US and Japan all the way at the bottom.
Yeah, they're so law-abiding. Citizens from those countries, they're committing fewer offences than the Danish population
So
themselves.
What does one learn from this? So you're saying law-abiding citizens. What is the reason, if one does research with this, somebody can watch this and say, come on, Douglas, you're an Islamophobe. Let's face it, that's what you are, and you're kind of pointing this out. The average, somebody who's a Muslim may look at this and not be happy with the data that you're bringing up here. But why is it that certain communities are comfortable following law and order, whatever it is, and some are not?
All I'm using this to point out is that there is an issue when it comes to immigration of cultural compatibility. That is to say, people from some societies are more likely to integrate than people from other societies. Now, this is not to criticize different cultures or different people. My criticism is aimed at the governments of Britain and Western Europe because they believe in something called cultural relativism. And this is the reason why Britain and Western Europe are in such a mess. This ideology of cultural relativism, which is the ruling belief system of the elites in Britain, is that all cultures are of equal worth and that people are interchangeable. It instantly leads people to believe that if you import, say, 20,000 Haitians to Ohio, you're importing the next generation of Wright brothers or the next Neil Armstrong. I would suggest that actually you're probably not. Cultural relativism allows Western governments to make these elementary mistakes. And that is the intention of me pointing this out. It's to criticize Western governments for believing that cultural relativism is a good way of running a country. It is a disastrous way of running a country. For a start, if you believe in cultural relativism, that all cultures are of equal worth, what's the incentive to integrate when you move? Now, when I moved my family from Britain to the United States, I made absolutely sure that second day at school, my daughter knew the words to the Pledge of Allegiance. I celebrate July the 4th perhaps more patriotically than most people in my neighborhood. I do everything I can to value and cherish.
Why do you? Why do you think that's what you're supposed to do?
Because I came here for a better way of life, and it's the values of America and the culture of America that allow me to lead a better way of life.
So you think you're indebted to this country for this country allowing you to come here and exist?
Absolutely. Oh. And I am hugely indebted. I am the beneficiary. My family is the beneficiary of good decisions that were made by Americans, not just today, but Americans have been making good decisions for 240 years. I'm the beneficiary of that. I should cherish that. I shouldn't want to change and transplant my values onto that.
So why do you think the opposition, where somebody comes here in Ilhan Omar, right? Mm-hmm. Or some folks that are in Dearborn or other parts of the country that come in and they're Muslim. Mm-hmm. And they're coming and saying, well, no, I don't agree with your way of living. I just like the fact that economically this is a better place, but my beliefs are my beliefs and I'm going to impose it on you. And America's not going to be number one to me first. I'm going to be my faith, my heritage first, then you.
This is the danger of cultural relativism.
Right.
Because if you believe in cultural relativism, you validate that point of view and you allow that point of view, and that point of view takes over. If you actually believe that Western culture is a better way of life than non-Western culture, and the American branch of Western culture is perhaps the pinnacle of human achievement that has created the greatest society on earth, if you buy into that, then you create this desire to integrate. Look, no American government ever forced people from Italy and Poland to integrate. They chose to because they wanted to, because there was something valued about Americanness. In America, people aren't required to hang the flag from the porch and celebrate July the 4th. It's a spontaneous celebration of what it is to be American. If the elites don't believe in American exceptionalism, why would a first-generation migrant to America want to become part of the American family? Hi, everyone. I'm Douglas Carswell. You can join me on Migrant, where you can ask me any question you want. Why I believe in American exceptionalism. What made me leave Brexit Britain and come to Mississippi, the greatest state, I think, in America. You can ask me any question you want, and I'll answer it directly. Look forward to hearing from you.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.